Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris. This is Order 7, and we are back after a little bit of a break in the upload schedule. You won't have seen it your end, but um, yeah, it was a couple of days that I had issues uploading again and also recording just because I wasn't feeling very well. I'm still not feeling very well. I've got a number of things going wrong at the moment, and yeah, I think we'll leave that at that for right now. Nothing super serious, nothing dangerous. No need to feel sorry for me, really. It's just life. That's just what it is. I've grown accustomed to it over the years. I've never been well. I don't have that expectation of being well. So I have a slightly different value for normal in my existence than I know other people do. It is what it is. Everyone's got their own things that we deal with. So I don't really think we need to dive too much into that side of things. But I want to be a little more open about things because when it does come up and I do get ill and I'm missing time and that's gonna affect my upload schedule, I think that part of it's 100% something I should be sharing with you all. And so that's my plan on that front. When it doesn't affect things, I'm more likely to keep that to myself and keep that private. And I'm sure everybody understands, but I just think it's also important just to voice kind of expectations of myself and um, situations that may or may not occur, just so everybody kind of knows where we're at. My plan is to upload, and I don't know how long this is going to last. Eventually, I feel likely that we're going to move to a Monday to Friday, once a day upload schedule. At the moment, I am still trying to keep on a video a day, 7 a week of starters orders content, whether that be a tutorial video, a jumps video, or this flat save. As well as that, Monday to Friday, I have gone ahead and tried to keep an upload of Tennis Manager. And in my next Tennis Manager video, I will also be explaining this at the beginning of that video in case people don't watch this series and vice versa. But that's the plan. So Monday to Friday, morning video starters orders, evening video Tennis Manager, and then on the weekend, starters orders. And they may get replaced with, especially when I go down to just Monday to Friday. The weekends may become another series where once a week I would upload Out of the Park Baseball, Franchise Hockey Manager. There's a new Hockey Manager game. When Horse Racing Manager comes out, that might be a weekly video on the weekend. It may be something else slightly older, um, or slightly newer, depending what's released. But you should expect it to fall within the realms of vaguely sports, vaguely management, and even if the games themselves aren't fully about that, you should expect me to be focusing on those aspects. So you should still get a good idea from that. So stuff like F1 Manager, Motorsport Manager. There is the new one of those, GT Manager. I forgot the name of that for a second. I'm not really sure who makes that one, but that kind of looks pretty cool along the same lines as Motorsport Manager and F1 Manager. So that could be really interesting to kind of dive into as well. Of course, a new Football Manager, if and when that is fully released. Maybe front office football. Um, yeah, so just kind of expect some of those changes to happen, and this is kind of a heads up on that. Just moving forward, really. And yeah, I think that's kind of everything. Memberships are available. There's not a lot of content up on the membership side right now. It's just an extra way of supporting. I get a tiny little bit of money from you, and you get a little bit more access. But more than anything, it's a way to support the channel further than just a like, a subscribe can do. If you can and you want to, great. If you can't and you don't want to, that's perfectly fine as well. But I do appreciate all the support I am getting, and I kind of want to. I normally put it at the end of videos, usually about an hour in. I know a lot of people are gone by that point, so I kind of want to put it up front as well this time, just to kind of make sure everybody's understanding. Sport means absolutely everything, engagement and the algorithm, all that stuff. If you know how YouTube works, you know what a big deal that is. And just from a mental health point of view and keeping things going here on my side, like a motivation slash validation slash interest, I'm not just shouting into the wind, then it does mean a lot. So I really do appreciate it. I want to thank every single one of you for being here and being a part of the channel, being a part of the journey. With all that being said, I try to keep it as short as I want. I want it to be 5 minutes, we're a little over, but we're going to jump in to this save. Brand new season, brand new horses, new bunch of 3-year-olds to go for the Triple Crown. We came up short, but still we got some phenomenal 3-year-olds now turned 4. They're now eligible for some huge races at the start of this season. I haven't really gone through them yet, but it's such a good class. I pulled Modern Eve out of the breeding barn, and then I pulled Haig Morton out of the breeding barn to put them back in the list at the start of this. And then I just reorganized everything. The way I like to reorganize it, I want to start here, is I'll put it by age. So all my 4-year-olds, my 3-year-olds, my 2-year-olds, etc. So descending age is my main sort. On top of that, I kind of want to keep the fillies separate because they're a little more valuable in terms of breeding. Because whilst a sire can be very useful and it can cover an entire barn of breeding mares, then yeah, okay, some people will value that more. But you can breed to game breds with your fillies. You can't really do well. You can, but you can't choose who to breed with your sire. If you do not have them in your breeding barn, then the game's just going to randomly ask for your sire to cover one of the game bred mares, and then you don't get that foal because it's always the mare, the owner of the mare, that gets the foal. So I think it's less valuable in that way. Um, and so yeah, I kind of value those fillies a little more. Also, while there are colt and stallions, I had to sit here for a minute. I paused the recording. I had to sit here for a couple of minutes till my brain caught up with my train of thought here. Well, there are colt and stallions only races. There are actually more, and also big races. There are a lot more just filly and mare races. So yeah, I kind of want to keep them separate. So it'll be descending age, then all the guys, and then the girls. So you can see I've done that. Now, this may not be intuitive to people, but the way that you can structure this, and I don't really want to do it here, I know how I can do it. I know how I can do it. I'm just going to bring Terry out for a moment. Boom. So everybody's in order the way I want them, but now I've got a 9-year-old at the bottom of the list. So what I would want to do here is make sure that she appears on the top of the list and everyone else is that. Now, we can't just drag and drop. I don't know if there is another way of doing this or a better way. I don't believe so. I'm happy to be proven wrong. If you know something, always comment section down below. Let me know. I'm more than happy to help, and I'm more than happy for other people to kind of let me know what's going on. I'm very happy then to put that information into a video and share that with other people as well. So we're keeping as much information about the game alive as possible, which, seeing how dead the forums are and how a lot of people are just waiting for Starters Orders 8 to come out, I feel it's a lot harder to get into a game because a lot of this knowledge is, unintentionally or not, being gatekept. My goal is always to bust down those gates. It always has been. I learn how to play a game. I learn tips and secrets. I learn how I want to play that game, even if that's not how it was designed. And then I teach people how to play my way. And I found that a lot of people kind of like that. So yeah, if you know something, please do let me know, and I'm more than happy to push it out to the community and just let everybody kind of know. There's only one. There's only been two things that I haven't taught people about Starters Orders 8. Sorry, Starters Order 7. One of which I was asked not to release and was patched out by a member on the forums who was, I think, the person who discovered it before me. I wasn't aware of this, but discovered it before me and reported it and got it patched. That's my understanding of it. And it was particularly dangerous because your save game could be completely ruined by doing it. So I've never said anything about that, and this is as far and as much as I'm going to mention it. And then there's one other thing that I haven't shared because I feel it is a way around the league rules to a certain degree, which is why I'm not releasing it, because I'm not even sure if the league's still a thing. But they put so much into this. Mark put so much into this game to protect league play and that side of the community, which has always been the bigger side than casual play, especially on the forums. The forum membership, I would say, is so heavily active, or was so heavily active, on league play, which is online play. You have to have a special league breeding save. You can't import horses into it, and you can't transfer horses out of it. You need to just play the game as normal, breed up your horses without boosting at the start in any way at all. People play for decades and decades to get these perfect specimens, and then you export them. Like if you watch the CK video, the trials video I put up, how to export a horse, which is just this little E button here, and then export the horse. If you do that, I think there's a league something somewhere. There's a way to export it for league play. That might only be in the league game. I'm not sure. I don't play league games. And then you upload that to a third-party website, as does everybody else. They all register as trainers, and you build your stables, and you compete in online races where a commissioner of that online league will download all these files, put together races, simulate them on their computer, and share the results. So it's a competitive online way that is kind of official because the creator of the game, Mark, has put so much work into that side of things for them, but isn't an official part of the game because you've got to sign up third party and it's the members doing it, not the game or any official host being done. So yeah, long-winded way to say that there's a way to get around an online restriction or two within the game, potentially. I've never tried it because I don't know, and I've never played that way. But I could see how, if what I think happens, how it would get around that and how it would affect and imbalance that. So everything else I'm more than happy to teach. So back to this side. We want to move Terry to the top. What do? Simply, we put people in the breeding barn and bring them back out. So Spear Dancer is above. I just click to put it, retire to stud, return to main stable. Every horse you do that to moves to the bottom of the list. So you'd have to go down and move everybody to get Terry up to the top. And you wouldn't start with Spear Dancer. That would be when you're last. I'd start at the top, I'd move everybody down, and you're basically cycling the top person down to the bottom of the list every single time, which in effect then would be moving Terry up. And if we did Terry again, she's on the bottom. So we can put her back in stud and forget about that. So it takes some time, but if you've got this little thing about you like I do, where I just like the game to default to this, and it makes it easier for me to understand and find certain horses. And in fact, something that's going to annoy me if I don't do it is the ordering of this 2 euro. So I've currently got like 3 non-Hague horses above the Hague horses, and I kind of would like that to change. So I'm just gonna do this. And now I've got a cycle. So I got my Hagues. I want these 3 underneath. And I have renamed these 2. I've renamed Cardboard Souls into Spear Dancer and Spear Dancer into Cardboard Souls, because those 2 names respectively suit a filly and a colt in my mind because of where the inspiration comes from. And again, all of these non-Hague named horses, they all come from somewhere. I remember most of them. High Life, I don't remember exactly why I named that. Cop Blanc, I know Mrs. Duck, Spear Dancer, Cowboy Souls, Dragon, Magic Man. I think High Life and Magic Man come from outside, come from another place, and these come from the same sphere, I would say. Different things within the same sphere. These are totally unrelated to that sphere, which is why I want to rename them. But I'm not going to. But yeah, so now we just continue with all our 2 years. Be very careful you don't retire from game or retire to the game pool. Make sure you've got a save before you move them around so you can back up if you need to. But now we would have done it again, haven't I? Have done it again. Yeah, this is exactly what I don't want to happen. Easy fix, because I want these guys on the bottom, because they were really a breeding class behind. So I want all the Hague horses, then these, and then these in order. And again, just going through. Hague Brex. I'm going to leave High Life right at the bottom for the reason that that capital H is going to blend in for me. I kind of don't want that. So now we got the Hagues on top. So we basically pulled these 3 from above these 3 to below. That's just a way of refreshing your list. So the game will default it. And then when I book races, I think I clicked next declaration twice, this column, and sorts it with the furthest away date at the top. So we've always got the list going up. That's where it looks like it does. Right. With all that being said, let's take a look at our 4-year-olds and make some decisions, because I haven't really looked at these at all. And we really need to make some decisions here. I think even without looking at the horses, the first thing I feel I want to do is look at Eve's Water and figure out how, if we can get a grade 1. Just one. Doesn't look like we're going to gain any potential because we were just under our maximum last year. We didn't fulfill it, so we don't get a new one. Apparently, that's not how jumps works, but it is how flats work. And I find that weird because I think Starters Orders 7 is kind of 3 games in one, where flats operate one way, with a bunch of different things working totally differently in the jump saves. And then that combined schedule, you mix both together. And it can get really weird. So, yeah. I hope all that and the league play, maybe there's an official way of doing league play for Starters Orders 8. I hope like some of these quirkiness that have just been carried from previous versions really all the way through. Seeing as the amount of redesign and some of the stats have changed, and the amount of change going into Starters Orders 8 is phenomenal. I applaud Mark for such an ambitious change. I just hope that some of these other things have changed as well along the way. So Eve's Water, we won a grade 1. I don't know how we're going to get it. Looks to still be a mile 1 to a mile 2. we look to have decent bars here. So again, you know, speeds at like an 85 to 90. We got 55 stamina, which is a mile 1 to a mile 2. That's kind of what we know they run. And we haven't been far away from, we got 3 top 3s in grade 1s and some pretty decent grade 1s as well. The Jockey Club Gold Cup, the Woodward, the Clark, they're not huge, but they're pretty significant. Even the Pacific Classic, £1 million race, only fourth. I'm hoping as a 4-year-old we can kind of get there and do something. I still like the horse. I do not think I'm breeding from it. I think we've got much better options. But it looks out of place being the only 4-year-old without the grade 1. And these won't last that long into the season. Most of these are going to be taken out before too long. But yeah, that little grade 2 stands out for me. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't matter. Won't change anything about what I'm doing with the horse, what I'm not doing with the horse. I just want to. I just want to. So I think Eve's Water stays around for that reason. I'm going to carry on going down at this point because we've got all the other Eve horses, and I think, we'll look at all the Eve era progeny and see what we're feeling. Eve Secret, again, a horse we loved, we thought was going to be amazing. Didn't end up that way. Still looks pretty good. Is still a very fine horse. We came so close in a number of big races at the Queen's Plate and the Tennis Show. I do feel that we're definitely a mile 2, and we look so good. Again, do we breed? Possibly. Almost 50% cruising burst, 75 extra speed, full finish consistency. The low enthusiasm, not great distance adaptability, but still looks like a good horse. I think 100% we can breed from it. I think it's a better option than Eve's Water. I'm not sure how much more we need to race Eve's Secret. Eve's Morton's got a grade 1, looks okay, doesn't really do amazing anyway, and doesn't look amazing. Again, I don't feel this is one we need to breed from, and I don't feel this is one I kind of need to race. So we're going into the breeding barn for now, and then at some point I'll go into the breeding barn and retire horses I don't want. These are, unless I'm mistaken, yeah, these are all still on one of the short lists. I'm not sure which one. Oh no, they are all here. They are all here. So I've got Eve Secret as a 2-year-old and as a 3-year-old. And Modern Eve and Stardrom. Yeah, I think I can get rid of those, right? I can get rid of those. And then Haig, Violetta, and Candy again. Why have I got those as 2-year-olds? I'm not sure. Okay. I'm just making sure there's no duplicates on here. There aren't. Okay. But we have got all these as 3-year-olds. And our 3-year-olds from this season are already on the list as well. So I'm kind of happy with that. So I can get rid of them. I can bring them back. And in fact, that just means for me, I'm going to retire Eves Morton. I'm going to do the same with Haig because we've kind of bred with anyone that we need to right now. And if I do need to breed from Haig, I've got a 3-year-old version. I don't need the 7-year-old version. So I'm kind of okay with that. Right. So yeah, Eve Secret can stay for now. Two grade ones, two grade twos, two grade threes, far below what we thought they'd be, but also, yeah, it's kind of nice and a little bit of a quote actually from what's the name of the film? What's the name of the film? Ice Hockey, Charleston Chiefs, Paul Newman, Slapshot, the goalie, the very OCD goalie. Can't let in another goal because the score is 2-2. And he just mutters over and over 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, 2-2. So yeah, my brain takes me to that place. See, I kind of like Eve's Secret as they are. Yeah, I don't think I want to race Eve's Secret as a 4-year-old. Might breed from them. That's fine. A modern Eve. Um, yeah, I think we just put her back in the breeding barn because we got some older horses here that are 8 and 9 years of age that might not make it out. So, yeah, I think her value is definitely now in the breeding barn. Don't need to race her. She's got a grade one. She's had a little career. She hasn't won big races. She's failed to win sort of medium grade ones and low grade ones. So there's not really racing pedigree there, but her stats are really high. And with the right breeding partner, she might be amazing. So I'm going to just kind of do what I need to do then and move forward as we can, really. Um, and then that brings me to the two really interesting ones for me. Candy Star, very slow starter. I do feel that we are a mile three. Anytime we stepped away from a mile three, we haven't been good. This distance adaptability is such a lie. Uh, it really is. If we're not on the perfect distance, we don't want to play. We don't want to play. We were a mile two horse that won the Derby and the Preakness, which is a mile two and a mile 1.5. So very close to a mile two. Then we couldn't get to a mile four. We got to the mile three very soon after, showing what our distance actually was. But then we couldn't get back to a mile two. We couldn't get to a mile four or to a mile two in either of these. So I really do kind of question this bar. To me, this seems like a 10 adaptability horse, if that. They can adapt by about half a furlong to a furlong at most. So I kind of need to see what's here at a mile three first. And Stardrom is unbeaten and is fantastic and is, even though the bar would say more mile two than a mile one to me, anything in this range is kind of flexible between, actually, anywhere from like here to here is flexible between a mile one, mile three. Could mean anything. So it's got a good set of stamina for a mile one. And, you know, if you ask certain people in the comments, then they would always suggest kind of, you know, setting instructions like don't trail and challenge early because they've got extra stamina. And I fully agree. There's just something about me that wants to see a horse run naturally. I'm really struggling with it. I never used to. I don't know why now. I don't want the jockey to interfere with the horse. I want to see what the horse is. So I don't like tweaking those instructions. But it is a very good suggestion, so I will bring it up. If you think that they've got more stamina or would like a little bit more distance than they're actually running, and I would only say up to like a furlong at most. So a mile three in a mile two race. But better if they're a mile two horse running a mile 1.5. So you think you're nailed on for the Kentucky Derby. Preakness might be a little too short. They might want a little bit more like challenge earlier and don't trail. together will kind of keep you near the front and send you out earlier. So when your stamina is coming down quicker because you've gone earlier, you've got that little bit of extra stamina that would take you that extra distance the horse likes. So it does work out quite well. So I do recommend it, even though I don't do it myself. But just look at that potential bar. Like, this is nuts, right? This is nuts. Like, Stardrom is absolutely nuts. And you look at the names that are in this breeding pattern, and this to me is why I'm so excited about breeding from Stardrom more than racing, even though it's unbeaten, even though it could have gone to the Triple Crown. I do not believe it would win the Belmont. I don't think we come away with more than the Derby and Preakness that Candy Star ended up with anyway. But yeah, we got some big races for Stardrom this season, but I'm excited about the breeding here because, like I say, Magical Mystery Tour is a horse I loved. Uh, Highland Hannah, loved. Hannah Park, loved. Um, Bertarella, our first good horse. Eve's Era, the magical fucking sire gamebred that has given us the best horses of all. Krabby's Down, our first ever um, Triple Crown winner. Candania Terry, a horse we adored that never got above 6-7 furlongs. Small Drum, the amazing pairing, turned out with Small Drum, who again liked about a mile, didn't want to go further. And then on the other side, Portrait Gallery is just a phenomenal sire. Ingleby Star, second in my mind to Eve's Era. And then we combine down to get to Stardrom. So all these great horses, and especially on the sire type of thing, side of things, Portrait Gallery, Ingleby Star. Border Revia, Magical Mystery Tour, Eve's Era, Krabby's Down. That's 6, I think, of the best sires that have come through. This is number 1, number 2, for sure, of all the game breds. And our first Triple Crown winners in that mix as well, with 3 other top people. The other 2 aren't bad by any means. And when we look at horses like Bertarella was very good. Candania Terry was amazing, just like distance. Small Drum was great, didn't have much distance. So like the fillies on this side, and just the sires on both sides. So depending who we can breed her with, I think that's going to be really fun. And at the end of this season, when I'm done with her, when I'm done with him, I need to find a filly that's got distance that I can breed with Stardrom. And it's probably going to be if one of these Higgs, and some of these 2-year-olds look like they were going to do it, if they get like crazy distance, then that would be a choice. And if it's Higgs Brex, I would be possibly very happy. Hig Tycoon as well for other reasons. But yeah, so I think we're going to run these 3 at least a little bit. And then we've only got 3, which I like having a small number of 3-year-olds. And this allows us to focus in now on the Triple Crown races this season and kind of feel where we're going to be. So I'm going to start actually with Hig Morton, who is already 1 mile 1, 1 mile 2 range. Probably a mile 1, that's the breeding indicator. And that's, kind of what I would expect. But Brisingham and Haig, we know, ended up as a mile 7. And Zainab Morton, I mean, it doesn't really show, but yeah, she did win at a mile 1. So even though we'll put her at 7 furlongs, and what would this be, a mile 3-ish? Mile 3 1/4. And that would average out towards the mile 1. What you've got to remember is Zeynep Morton was a mile 1, Brisingham and Haig was more like a mile 6, but probably a mile 7 eventually. And that leads me to think that we combine those divided by 2. This mile 1 is possibly potentially a mile 4, which is the Belmont. So, if we hold a mile 2 here, and this distance adaptability isn't a lie, that gets us distance for the Kentucky Derby. That gives us adaptability to go a little bit shorter to run the Preakness. And the breeding kind of points then to maybe being able to get up, especially with this adaptability, if it's correct, for the Belmont. So Triple Crown, distance-wise, I feel we're good. Now, consistency, enthusiasm, confidence, none of those are high. Going adaptability is going to be a little tricky as well. Doesn't have amazing extra speed, but it does have really good cruising burst. Has phenomenal potential. Such a short window to actually fill out as much as we can before the Derby. I don't know whether we got the pace. So I'm going to be a little pessimistic and say I don't feel Haig Morton is a Triple Crown winner. I feel it has the quality to compete, which would, to me, kind of means finishing in the money in at least 2 of the 3 races. And so that's top 5. It's not a high bar. It's a very decent race, and it's very difficult to even achieve that. But once you're breeding at such a level, then it's not huge. But I do feel we can compete in the Triple Crown with Haig Morton. Do I think we can win one race? This potential needs to be filled out really quickly. I don't know if we've got enough races to do that before the Derby. And then it's such a short time to the Preakness. Now let's say we ran them both, and because we weren't filled out enough, we didn't win, but we raced really well. Let's say a couple of seconds or third places or something. We did really well, enough to get some 5-10% jumps. Then moving into the Belmont, sort of 85 to 90 ability. Now this bar filled out to this point. With the breeding, yeah, maybe Belmont, maybe. So very early days. We're still like 3 months and 3 days away from the Derby, and I think, what is the Belmont? The 9th of June, maybe. But anyway, that's like, that's a long time away there. So I do love, but this is how my brain thinks, and this is kind of how I judge at the start of the year to kind of figure out what pathway each horse is going to be on. So Haig Morton, to me, feels like we could be looking at a Belmont win. And I'm not sure about the other 2 because of potential and some other stats, but we can compete. Now, Haig 5e, I think very, very similar. 5e Modern, 1 at a mile. And so we're even a little bit, we can see here, we didn't need to go into that. But yeah, 7 furlongs up to a mile. So we're probably built eventually around that mile 3 range, which is perfect. If we can breed to a mile 3 every single time, I think that gives us Preakness, Derby, and Belmont quite nicely. We don't need much adaptation either way to get there. So I'm pretty happy with that. And again, very, very similar. Very similar. Except better. Like, again, we got adaptability, we got lowish enthusiasm. Confidence is a touch higher. Cruising burst is like 10% less. Extra speed is like, I don't know, possibly up to 10% more. Full finish, consistency, and surface adaptability. So Haig 5e is going to be a little bit less troublesome to book for, and is going to underperform a tiny bit less. Not so much that you probably notice it until you've run like 30 races, and then he'll have one extra bad run than his sister. And again, the potential, but again, it all depends where we go. And if we jump, and again, I just feel so similar, but I'd feel more comfortable racing Haig 5e in Triple Crown right now than Haig Morton. But there's little to no difference between them. And then Haig Candy, just like that full speed bar is quite nice. Now the difference between that and like what 88%, let's say that is, and the same for Haig Morton, it isn't huge. It will make a small difference. And when you're looking at Triple Crown races, those small differences add up. And so I do feel that these bars are probably the best that we've got. Now, when we look on this screen again, we've got the cruising burst that Haig Morton had. We have kind of extra speed in the middle of the two. We have the best distance adaptability with Haig 5e's consistency and adaptability. And what we also have is 75 potential, not 70 like the other two. Yeah, and I just feel we're a tiny bit ahead of one, and we're a little bit more ahead of the other. So here, Candy has the most speed, has the most ability right now, and technically you can jump pretty much up to like 20%, and you can do it in 2 to 3 races if they're highly rated enough, and if you win them comfortably enough, you can get like a 20% jump per year. So if we could find the right races for Haig Candy, we could be seeing this bar actually filled out as a 3-year-old heading into the Kentucky Derby with the best combination of stats out of all 3 of the horses and with this best speed bar. So I'm going to put it out there and say that Haig Candy is my very early favorite for a Triple Crown run. And with all that being said as well, again, this is Candania Terry. This is the horse that we loved. This is the horse that looked really good as a 2-year-old and never got more than 6 to 7 furlongs. This is the horse that gave us Small Drum. Small Drum gave us Star Drum. Our current 4-year-old we think is amazing and is unbeaten. This is the horse that gave us Candy Star. That won the Derby and the Preakness and just somehow didn't get the adaptability going for the Belmont to complete the 3. Like, that's who Candania Terry is. This horse didn't work out with Eve's Era. That's kind of a weird one to me, but it is what it is. Towery Audience turned out to be a great horse. 16 Grade 1 wins. A terrible sire. We tried it with 5e Modern, with Zaynab Morton, and with Candania Terry. It didn't work. This is the first pure game bred one. We'll see. Remember the name? If it comes up as anything, we'll kind of know going forward. But didn't work out. And this has also given us Cardboard Souls with Nod Forms again, who we are breeding from this season. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to be excited about Haig Candy, in my opinion. But can we get this potential? Will they underperform? What's it going to look like? I don't know. But you have your comment section. Have your say about this as well. Who kind of would you feel right now is going to be the horse to win a Triple Crown? If you were splitting them, how would you split them? I think the only other thing to look at with Haig Candy here is the distances, which again is 7 furlongs and a mile 7, which, you know, kind of lands perfectly at a mile 3. So it would be the shortest average, but again, I think it puts us right where I'd want to be, especially if this adaptability is true on distance. So we got a mile 3, we got a mile 3.5, and then we got a mile 4 as like true distances for these horses. So we ignore the mile 1s on them all. They're a little bit short there. But yeah, have your say on those horses for this season, and we'll kind of feel where we're going. And it's exciting to have so many 2-year-olds. It's going to be a nightmare to book. And if all of them turn out well going into next season, like I'm really enjoying having a smaller candidate pool for our Triple Crown class. If we take all these into a 3-year-old season and we just can't separate them, I don't know what we're going to do. Like, honestly, I do not know what I'm going to do here. So, I haven't really looked at them properly. But Hague Violetta, Bzingaman Hague, and Sika Violetta, who we like for one main reason. I'm not sure if you can spot what it is. But, yeah, answers in the comment section. Why do you think that we love Sika Violetta so much? Experienced heads will probably be able to figure it out. It's the extra speed. No, it's not the extra speed, but that's very nice, to be honest with you. But yeah, how we didn't win much with her, I don't know. Probably because I didn't really want to run much at a mile and we just put her in the barn early. That might be more on me than anything. But I'm also loving having her there because a horse with that much potential is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And again, if she gets a mile, Bzingaman here gets a mile 7, we're back in that mile 3, mile 4 territory. And so Hague Violetta has got a long way to go. These are pretty poor bars, but 2-year-old, who cares? We're probably only going to be able to get up to about the 70 potential at age 3. And then going into their 4-year-old season, we might be able to get to 90%. But kind of puts them in line with the 3-year-olds we got now potential-wise. Bars are okay. The going adaptability isn't amazing. Extra speed is good, not great. Cruising burst is good, not great. Enthusiasm still a little low. And I believe that comes from both sides of the breeding on this one. But again, there's no Eve's error in this, but we got Ingleby Star and Bzingaman Hague and a few other really, really good horses in this mix as well. So I kind of like Hague Violetta. I just don't know how he's going to end up. Hague Reams as well from Reams Phillip, who did get a 1 mile 2. So what's a mile 2? Well, we wanted a mile 1. Let's say a mile 1. That makes it easier as well. That gives us a mile 4 overall. Lower potential. I normally wouldn't take horses below 50, but we'll see how much they jump. Like by the end of when they're maxed out at 3 years old, we could get the 85 potential. It's not going to happen. Like 20% is rare to fill in one season. I think that is the theoretical max. Usually you'll see somewhere between 5 and 15. If it's 5%, then at the end of his 3-year-old season, it would probably be here, and then that's not good. If it's 10%, it's probably not good. That would mean 4-year-old, 5-year-old, even 6 years of age. So going into their 7th season, they might be up here somewhere. So yeah, I don't love some of these horses with just massive potentials right now because it's going to take a long time to get there. But still a good horse. Haig Chip, I think, has slightly better better stats here, and that means to me they're more likely to produce as a 2-year-old. It comes from Ishila Chip as well. We only bred very quickly from her once. Bought her at auction. 5 Grade 1 wins. Wasn't amazing. And again, we've got this potential bar issue. Cowboy Souls as well looks pretty good from Candania, Terry, and Nod forms. 7 furlongs and a mile 2. Yeah. Puts us in a mile 1. We'll see if we've got any adaptability and kind of how we can move forward. But again, we're at about that 50 potential to begin with. Magic Man, good stats here. We've got Reims and Vanguard, who is another kind of solid horse. Did go longer, but really wins big at a mile 2. And is very, very similar again. And then the last of our little colts is Dragon, who has a phenomenal start, which matters on a short distance. And because we're still going to be running our maidens and maybe our first graded race at like probably 5 to 6 furlongs, maybe 7. If they jump maybe a mile, which is the breeding indicator, then you'll kind of expect this to play more of a part, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of excited here. This also is Eve's Era, who we love, and Plateau Brex, who we absolutely adore. 11 Grade 1 wins at the end of things. Kind of just, went on a winning streak and just bullied everyone. 15 wins in a row, 15 races, almost 15 million prize money. And ended up with 14 group wins. So if we could have got an extra win here rather than, I don't know, the maiden. Yeah, if we'd have started off with a grade and we found another grade along the way, that, instead of this maiden, we would have been 15 grade wins from 15 races, 15 wins, and that extra would have probably been enough to carry us over the 15 million prize money. So it's kind of just amazing how things work out. Doesn't look phenomenal, but again, we had high potential, high extra speed with enough cruising burst, full finish, and some good bars here. So, yeah, you pair those together and like, surely there's something here. Because Safari Team, we got Happy Jack. I really loved Happy Jack as well, and Villa des Sol. Safari Team. 5e Morden came out of that. We paired that with the Usera and got ourselves Plateau Brex. And then we doubled down and went back to Usera and gave us a Dragon. So, gonna see with this one. But we do have that potential already here, and that like 11% is going to be way easier to fill than anything we need to on the other horses. That deterioration as well, we could run this forever. It's got its mom's enthusiasm, which we're not enthusiastic about. And if it gets distance, it doesn't have a ton of cruising burst, which would come into play. But as a 2-year-old season, Dragon should be absolutely flying really early. And if they develop right, could be an absolute monster as a 3-year-old. Hey Grenade looks okay, doesn't look amazing here. Human Me Renee's had actually a decent amount of solid horses in other saves. So they do have a grade 2 winner here. But yeah, I don't know. Doesn't look amazing, but that potential is easier to see kind of we've already got 10-15% on some of the other 2-year-olds here, so just like Dragon Haig Renee could be okay. Not much here. Voronova Tycoon, again, a horse that we really quite liked. No weaknesses. Was a breeder. We just got a baseline of almost 50% for everything with good potential. There's just not a ton here that's been passed on. That start would be amazing. And again, kind of low-ish potential, 55 current ability. Gonna take a long time to get up. The rest of the bars look good. But if you don't have that potential bar, I don't think anything else really matters. Modern Eve's okay here. Really low potential. Really low ability. That potential bar is going to be an absolute nightmare. Very, very, very much thinking that we might just get rid of her. Yeah, weigh in on the comment section on her as well. Haig Brex, this is a horse, again, that has a lot of good stuff in it. It's just missing the Ingleby Star bloodline. But, yeah, that does mean that Haig Brex and someone like maybe Candy Star or Stardrom could make a good pairing in the future. Yeah, still not super high ability here. Nothing wows me here. So it's going to be kind of interesting. Mrs. Duck actually has decent stats on the screen up front. I don't mind that at all. And yeah, we're 15% away from maxing out, which would be at 80%. So I'm kind of okay with that. I think this gives us a good place to be. It's Blue Crop Grange, who we know has a little bit of a closer element to him. Voronova Tycoon likes to run from the back, just never had the ability to fully close. Yeah, 2 grade 3s, and Blue Crop's got the 2 grade 3s and the 3 grade 1s, including the tennis show, the Hollywood Derby. What's the other one? The Florida Derby. So yeah, possibly mile 1 for both of them. I don't mind that. And then what I do love is this 90% extra speed, because that, on top of a good potential, if you're not going to like a mile 4 or beyond, then that's a better pairing than High Cruising Burst. I just think she's built really well, and I wouldn't be too surprised, like I say, if Dragon and Mrs. Duck are two that hit the ground running early because of these stats. Then we got Cop Blanc, who is laid back. Comes from Priestley's Words, who I don't know that well, but is a mile 4. And we like a mile 4, especially when 5e was a mile. And that puts us a mile 2. So again, Kentucky Derby, Preakness, maybe not the Belmont. We'll see if we got adaptability in a second. Not the best stats here, but solid. Is laid back, which I do quite like. And yeah, again, it's just anytime you're below about 60 potential as a 2-year-old, if this isn't filled out, making that jump is going to be difficult, which means you're not going to have an 85 plus ability horse going into the Kentucky Derby. It's just going to be way too difficult to do. And in this case, impossible, because 20% is going to drop us just short, really. There's a tiny chance that we could fill it out magically, but I don't see it. I don't see more than 20%. Now, Spear Dancer, good starting bar. Mediocre speed bar and acceleration bar. Zaynab Morton and Near Haven, which is a mile 2 with this mile 1. So again, we're in the first 2 races kind of territory, but we do have that 60%. We're just low on cruising burst and slightly low on extra speed. Consistency is quite low, which doesn't always matter, but is something to kind of factor into things. Again, might be an impressive horse that just fails to live up to the big kind of races that we want to win. And High Life has decent bars here, just a bad start. And Storming Wanted has won at a mile 2. I do feel is a better mile 1. And Seeker Violetta, that little miler. So I think definitely going to live at a mile 1 here, which again, Preakness works out quite well. Maybe the Derby eventually. But yeah, there's a world in which we do fill this potential out in one season. And if we're starting year 3 of this horse at 86 potential already filled out, we possibly could get over that 90 mark to 95 mark by the time the Kentucky Derby rolls around again. And that would be kind of big. Solid extra speed, not much cruising burst. If we're going to be a mile 1, mile 2, I would prefer this than the other way around. No real weaknesses. I just don't know if we're going to get anything super fun and interesting from them. So, yeah, so many 2-year-olds, bringing back a bunch of 4-year-olds, and kind of looking ahead, as we always do at the start of the season, to the Triple Crown races. I felt this was going to be a good setup video rather than booking too much or racing anything. We also have the horses from last year, Zingerman and Michelle Minerva, give us Ramscoop, who looks like they can have a lot of pace, but a lot of room to kind of grow. And this is a mile what? Biggest win comes at a mile 2. You're probably more like a mile 1. But again, that's still, because of Brisingham and Haig, that's still a mile 3 to a mile 4 without that much issue. And so having very good extra speed and some cruising burst is really nice. This is slightly worrying. Would want a little bit extra. Somewhere around here would be really nice in terms of already filled ability. But again, if we do look then forward, if we get that, very difficult to get 20%. If we get 15, start of their 3-year-old season at 70%, and a chance to fill this bar out before the Kentucky Derby, it may or may not be enough. It may or may not be enough. With the other bars where they're at, the way everything looks, especially if the speed bar is up where it is, the acceleration's kind of hanging around here, would kind of want 70 plus on the start bar. But Ramscoop, very early look. We like Juniper. It's kind of where I'd want Ramscoop to be. Maybe a touch more acceleration, but that's not the worst thing in the world, honestly, to be the worst out of those 3. And yeah, Haig, Modern, kind of a mile 1, mile 2. We never tested at a mile 2, so that could be the reason why they didn't perform very well. Oh, they didn't like the dirt. Yes, I remember. I remember you not liking the dirt. But a mile 1 to a mile 2, and that's Eve's era as well, so we're in the right kind of frame thinking about it. Low enthusiasm's kind of interesting. Definitely has quirks. Okay, so 25 on the quirks. 25 on the quirks. 25 on the quirks. There's a 95+% chance that Juniper does not like running on dirt. I'm going to put that out there and say that right now. Okay. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to save. I'm going to retire you to the game pool. We're going to go out. We're going to reload back in. So she's back in. I'll rename her Juniper. And away to go. Because we're going to see, and I could be wrong on that, but because this quirks isn't how likely at all, if the bar is more than 0%, she's going to have some kind of quirk. And depending how far along the bar is, it'll decide which quirk. She's got the exact same as her mother, who did not enjoy running on dirt, which means Juniper's a dirt hater. And if she doesn't like dirt, then the perfect place to import this horse would be when we get our new schedule up to kick off the British jumps. Maybe even just a British flat save. I've kind of wanted to be running one of those soon. So, yeah, kind of let me know as well what you think of that and the fact that I'm naming a dirt hater so I can remember why. I put these on the list for some reason. I think this was just breeding more than anything, which is why they're here. Same with Minishki Large. I'm not sure. They all came from the American save. There's a chance this one was supposed to go over into a jump save. I'm not sure. And I don't know if Juniper would work on the jump. She's got no jump bar. She's got a little jump speed potential. It could be worth trying her on jumps, but definitely just on grass flats. Juniper could be really, really good. So we might look at that. And I want to quickly finish off with our breeding setup right now. So Eve's Secret is going to hang out here for now. Probably going to breed from them next season. Storming Wanted, we're only breeding with one horse this year. That is already underway. And that is Voronova Tycoon, who is still good enough. So I just want to watch as this bar falls. The more it falls, the more likely you're going to see the 1-year-olds with these huge pale green potentials. And it's so difficult to fill them. It really is. So at the start of every season, I haven't done that yet. I'm going to do this on camera just to round things out. I'm just making sure people aren't falling back too much because I don't want to breed them when their potential has fallen off too much. That's going to give lower starting ability for their falls with the high potential. Like I said, that difficulty to fill them out means that even if it's still the same, even if you've only got like 15% ability to grow, and you can do that in 1 year, and then you do 15% next year, that's 30. To have a bar as a 2-year-old, that's, you're at 50 on the dark green bar, your ability, and then your potential is up at 80%. That to me seems further away than getting 15 and 15, which would put you there at the end of your 3-year-old anyway. So there's no real difference in that potential bar being big or not. And in fact, if your potential bar was at 100% for all your horses, then the ability could kind of be wherever it's going to be. You're always going to be able to improve. If that potential bar is really low at like a 60 and you're already 55 ability, you can only grow by 5% that year. There could be a horse that has 40 that could still grow to that 60 anyway in that same year. So something to think about with the ability and potential for sure. But I don't want to have to look at those huge, huge bars like we're currently seeing. I don't love this. Even though that is 40%, right? We're at 50, we can get to 90. As a 2-year-old, technically we could get to that 70 by the end of our 2-year-old season and hit this 90 at our end at our 3-year-old season. But I prefer to see a bar of up to 20. Don't know why. Way my brain processes things. But Reams is perfect. Just gonna check the other bars here. If there's anything I really don't want in here that we've got? I don't think so. So Zaynat Morton is 8 years of age. Yves Morton, Haig Morton, both have done well. Spear Dancer, we do like a lot. Who didn't you breed with? Kikos and Tauri. I can understand Tauri. Kikos, a little bit more of a surprise. You never bred with Ingleby Star. I should have been breeding more with Ingleby Star. I really, really should have been. Yeah, okay. Yeah, again, really like Zaynat Morton. Think they're pretty cool. It's just this Quirks is just Quirks is a little bit of an issue for me. And then 5e. Again, 8. Solid. Still holding potential. So that's not too bad. That's a 15 to 20% jump right there. I'm okay with that. Don't love some of these other bars, mind you, but 5 is okay for now. Delijo Anna. I mean, this is a horse that we haven't had that long. Didn't breed well, Brisingham and Haig. Not so bright, I don't think, was ours. And Relaxed Start. Didn't win a maiden. That's the only race they've run so far. It's kind of difficult to judge. A bit of cruising burst, sure. Not much else. Already 8. You're a mile 4, but you're not actually going to improve the bloodline. So I think we're going to get rid of them. Michelle Minerva, a solid horse. We don't mind what they've done. Yeah, good extra speed. Would like a little more potential. Maybe this is the last year for Michelle Minerva. We've only bred once from them, and I quite like Ram Scoop, so maybe we're okay. Terry, we just love Terry. Such a big bar. Such a big bar. And Candy Star's probably going to go into the breeding barn, and then here Candy's going to go into the breeding barn not long after them. And Cardboard Souls might end up in one after that. 9 years of age. 4 Grade 1 wins. Commonwealth Cup, the Test, the H. Allen Jerkins Memorial, and the La Brea. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. We're going to say goodbye to Candania Terry, who's been absolutely phenomenal for us. Absolutely phenomenal. Modern Eve's just gone into the barn. Again, this lineage is solid. It's got Safari Team and Eve's Era in it. With Appy Jack, I liked Villa de Sol. Like I say, I think this is a nice horse. Not an amazing horse, but a nice horse. Some really good bars. 2 Grade 1s, 2 Grade 2s. Competed in a lot of others. Got 80% extra speed. We've got solid potential and ability right now. Low consistency, low enthusiasm. A little bit of an issue, maybe. But yeah, we're good to run with her. For our Seeker Violet we looked at earlier, just absolutely what you want from a mare. 80% extra speed, full potential, 90, what, 98 ability, full finish, full consistency. Yeah. Same pairing for both. Something Small wasn't amazing, but give us Seeker Violetta, which is phenomenal. She's good to go. She's already breeding with Nod forms. And then Brex, that 137 rating. Oh, I wish we could have hit the 140. We probably could have. We could have run as a 4-year-old and won it. We could probably pull her out of breeding and run her as a 5-year-old and win a big enough race. But yeah, potential's good. Enthusiasm, consistency, not amazing. Didn't seem to bother her though. So we'll kind of see. Dingleby star pairing didn't work out. Hagbrex we like, and Dragon we really like. So yeah, I think that's fine. So that's our pairings then. We've got Seeker Violetta with Nod forms. We've got Voronova Tycoon with Storming Wanting. Storming Wanted. We've got 8 mares in the barn. These other 6, they're all going to be paired with Nod forms. The only cover that Storming Wanted has this year is Voronova Tycoon. And I'm pretty kind of excited to see what they turn out. So that's our breeding. We've got a couple of good yearlings. We've got probably 4 to 5 promising 2-year-olds and a bunch of other just good 2-year-olds that I just want to give maidens to and kind of figure out where we're going from there. Maybe even at the end of their 2-year-old season, we'll pare them down really heavily for the 3-year-old season. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these go into the breeding barn at the end of this season or start of next season. So I think that's kind of what I'm expecting there. So we're not going to have as many 3-year-olds going into next season. We've got our 3-year-olds who I all think have a shot at least one Triple Crown. If we don't feel confident, we can split. 1 in the Derby, 1 in the Preakness, 1 in the Belmont. Distance is going to be interesting to see. They could just be like Brisingham and Haig, and they could just all go full to a mile 4, mile 5, mile 6 straight away. And so not really be able to run the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness. Going to be interesting finding that out. Eaveswater, grade 1 win, and I'll be happy to retire them. Stardrum, some really big races this season. Pegasus World Cup for sure is probably where we're going to open the season for them. And we got Saudi, Dubai, sort of some massive races there as well. I'm just thinking, what's the tab? I think the tab is 6 furlongs, right? Like Octoberish time in Australia. Yeah, 6 furlongs, end of October. 3-year-olds and above. I mean, I don't think that's this year. I don't think that's this year. It's the last thing I want to check because, like, who could even run that and have an outside chance? Absolutely nobody. Absolutely nobody. Yeah. Yeah, that's really something that I should have realized was on the schedule. And Candania Terry, like that, that's what should have happened there. That's 100% what should have happened. I need to remember that one. Need to remember that one. But yeah, we've got some fun races coming up, and we'll kind of see where we land on those. I'm hoping Candy Star is able to get to a mile 4 because the plan here is probably the Arc de Triomphe. The World Cups, like I say, with Stardrom, A grade 1 freeze water. And then we can start building our path to the Kentucky Derby. Keep an eye on these three while we just get the maidens and the early grades on as many of these 2-year-olds as possible. So that's where we're at. I think we're in a really good place. The transfer list also looking really nice, and we're keeping these 3-year-olds here before they run so we can kind of see what they end up like. I'm actually going to pare down because I don't think that we need Eve's Water or Eve's Morton Eve. Yeah, I probably would get rid of these 3. And Stardrum, Candy Star, Eve's Secret, we would keep there. I would probably also get rid of Lamps, Link, and Cops Milan from this list. Probably. I'm also wondering, where is Candania Terry? I think I've got her on another list somewhere. But yeah, so a lot of information, lots to go through starting the season. I think we've set up quite well, though, for this season ahead. So comment section down below. A little bit of a long video if it's still here, but yeah. Triple Crown, early favourites. Do we split the races between the 3 or not? Are we all going to just jump in distance and only be able to hit the Belmont or even beyond that, like a Brisingham and Hague? The 4-year-olds, can Candy Star get to the Arc de Triomphe, or are we just going to stick at a mile 3? Stardrom, the World Cups, the big race, like the Saudi Cup kind of races. Do we all have confidence? I'm very nervous about kind of getting too optimistic here, but Unbeaten looks amazing. Bloodline's phenomenal. Can't wait to breed from it. Can it win a really big race? Like a really big race. These are the big races it's won previously. Can it win a really big race? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. But yeah, that's where we're going to leave it. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate the support. Thank you for the patience. And I hope you've enjoyed this little look at maybe my thoughts more than the game itself about how everything kind of goes into preparation, how my brain assigns everything, and how I think about things that maybe I don't talk about too much on camera. But in the next episode, we're going to just hit the ground running now. We don't need to preview anything. It's going to be a ton of races, and we're going to get through so many. We're going to skip all the maidens. We're going to get through so many maidens. There's so many 2-year-olds, I'm going to be booking a lot of them in the wrong maiden and have to change distance between 5 and 6 furlongs respectively. Um, yeah, it's going to be a bit hectic on the schedule. But like I say, big races, big horses, and an exciting future. We're going to see where we all end up. But I hope you're there to continue the journey with me here on the channel. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed the video. It really does help out. Leave a comment. That helps with engagement and the algorithm too. Subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss anything. We've got other playlists up. We've got the UK jumps and the tutorial season on Stars Order 7. Plus, we've got the Tennis Manager series currently going on with weekday uploads for that. So, yeah, love it. Check the, like I said before, check the memberships. Link should be in the description. Till next time, when we start off this chaotic season 2031, we're in the thick of it now. Everybody knows. We've got a long way to go. but I hope we can see the bright, bright future. Take care, stay safe. See you all again very, very soon, and I wish you all the very best.